We're going to solve some more equations that have radicals in them. And remember the 4 steps. Step 1, isolate the radical. Step 2, eliminate the radical by raising both sides to the power of the index. Step 3, eliminate the parentheses. And step 4, solve the problem for x. And step 5, you should always check your solution to make sure it's valid. One thing you want to be aware of is sometimes you have more than one radical in your equation. And when that's the case, as it will be in these problems, you have to decide which one of the radicals do I want to isolate and concentrate on to eliminate the nth root. So here's our first example. Solve the square root of 3 parentheses x plus 4 equals the square root of 5x minus 12. Step 1, isolate the radical. Well, they're already isolated, so we don't have to do step 1. But step 2, we're going to eliminate the radical by raising both sides to the power of the index. Our radical on the left is a square root, so we'll square both sides. That will get rid of the radical actually on both sides, and it will leave 3 times x plus 4 in parentheses equals 5x minus 12. Then step 4, we're going to solve the equation. Get rid of the parentheses, and then isolate the x term. We have 3x equals 5x minus 12. Let's move the 5x to the left. We'll have negative 2x equals negative 24. And then eliminate the negative 2 on the left by dividing both sides by that number. And we get x equals positive 12 because a negative over a negative is a positive. Check our solution. Well, I'm not going to actually do it, but if we took x equals 12 and we plugged it back into the equation, it would indeed make both sides equal, so it's a good solution. Let's move on to another example, a little bit different. Solve 2 times the square root of 4 times x plus 1 equals the square root of x plus 4. Step 1, we want to isolate the radical on the left, so what we're going to do is, well, but let's just turn the whole thing backwards, and then we'll have an isolated radical on the left. Okay, now we'll raise both sides to the power of the index. Now be careful on the right side. That's a product of 2 values that we're squaring. On the left side, it's easy. We eliminate the radical and get x plus 4. But on the right side, because we have a product, you're going to square the 2 factors. The first factor is 2. The second one is the square root. Now you'll notice when we square the 2, we're going to get 4. But when we square the second factor, we're going to eliminate the radical and get parenthesis 4x plus 1, because the radical eliminated canceled with the square on the right side, while the 2 just was raised to the second power. Okay, now we're going to get rid of the parentheses and solve the problem. Step 4, so we get x plus 4 equals 4 times 4x plus 4 times 1. Move this 16x to the left. We get negative 15x equals 4 minus 4 is 0. And then eliminate the variable negative 15 by dividing both sides by negative 15. Now 0 over negative 15 is just 0. So we get x equals 0. Now let's go ahead and check the solution. Let x equal 0 in the original problem. 2 times the square root of 4 times 0 plus 1. Is that equal to 0 plus 4? Well, that's just the square root of 1 on the left, so it's 2 times 1 is 2. On the right, the square root of 4 is 2. So this is indeed a good solution. Moving on to the last example, we're going to solve the 4th root of 10y plus 6 is minus 2 times the 4th root of y is equal to 0. So we have a complication here. We have the index 4. Not a big deal. We can handle it. Step 1, we're going to isolate the radical. So we're going to move things over to the other side to get the 4th root of 10y plus 6 alone on the left equals the other side positive 2 times the 4th root of y. I just want you to know I did that by adding 2 times the 4th root of y to both sides. Step 2, I'm going to eliminate the radical by raising both sides to the 4th power, because 4 is our index. Now be careful on the right side because we have 2 values multiplying together. On the left side, it's easy. We just canceled the radical and got the radicand 10y plus 6. But on the right side, we're going to distribute the power 4. Now, don't forget, you can distribute the exponent across multiplication in the parenthesis. You cannot distribute it across addition and subtraction. Unfortunately, what we have here is 2 times the fourth root. So square the 2 times the fourth root, not squared, raise it to the fourth power, of course. So we got 10y plus 6 equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. And then when you take the fourth root of y to the fourth power, you just get y. So we have 16 times y on the right side. Now let's solve the equation. This is step 4. We're going to do that by bringing all the y's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So subtract 16y from both sides, and it cancels on the right side. We're left with negative 6y plus 6 is equal to 0. And now we're going to move the 6 to the other side by subtracting it, and we get negative 6y equals negative 6. We forgot to call this step 4 solving. Now divide both sides by negative 6. We get y equals a negative or negative is a positive. So the answer is positive 1. Now we're going to check our solution to make sure it's good by plugging y equals 1 into the original equation. We get the fourth root of 10 times 1 plus 6. Is that equal to 2 times the fourth root of 1? Well, that's the fourth root of 16 minus 2 times, well, the fourth root of 1 is just 1. So we have 2 minus 2. Is that equal to 0? Yes, it is. So our solution is good. Y is equal to 1.